In a world filled with sharks, bears, and killer bees, one man is brave enough to stay indoors to bring you the latest in gaming, movie, and pop culture news. That man is Tom Awesome, and this is the Outside is Overrated podcast.
Hello and welcome to Outside is Overrated, a grown-up podcast about gaming and nerd pop culture. On this podcast, we discuss video games, books, TV shows, movies, and board games. Thank you so much for joining us today. Every month on this main show, we discuss some aspect of nerd pop culture. Also on our feed, we play and discuss a game with our Patreon supporters each month. Those are our Game Club episodes. I'm your host, Tom Sidlotchik, and we've got a great show lined up for you today. We jumped into HeroClix for the first time in over 15 years. Does the superhero minis game still pack a meaningful punch? We'll find out. Joining me for the discussion are Florida comic Pat DeGeest.
Hey, Tom.
Hi, Pat. And Minnesota author of We're All Dead Here, Jake Rodquist.
Hey, thanks for having me here, Tom. Glad to be back.
Welcome back to the show, guys. The three of us have been together thrice this year. Twice this year for Pat's wedding in March and for a recent gaming weekend. So, Patrick, let's get real here. What's been the highlight of our shared experiences this year?
I feel like obviously the highlight of our group get-togethers was marrying the woman of my dreams and best friend. It's tough to top that, even with a multi-session HeroClix night.
Yeah, and just for clarification and for our listeners' edification, like, can Caitlin hear us right now? Can she hear me?
Yes, she is in the room with us. She can't hear you guys because I have earbuds in. She can hear me speak.
Well, that changes my answer dramatically. Jake, what about you? What's been the highlight of our shared interactions this year?
I was going to say first, I had a feeling that Caitlin was in the room when Pat was saying that. That's what that sounded
well,
like.
Well, yeah, he kept looking to the side, so that was a pretty dead giveaway.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Let's see, the highlight of our gatherings. I mean, like, I would really mention like all three things. It's just been so nice. First off, it was awesome to go to Pat's wedding and see Chuck again and see a lot of people related to Pat and friends of his that I haven't seen in a long time. So that was
Chuck's
great.
No longer a Patreon supporter, so Chuck's dead to all of us. There is no Chuck anymore. He's just a dude who plays in fantasy football now.
So he'll never listen to this. That's what you're saying.
He might listen, and if he re-ups that Patreon, then he can be back to being alive. But right now, he's one of those numbers on the dial that got spun down to 0.
He's a population in Battlestar right now.
Yeah, a deceased population. Sorry, I cut you off there, Jake.
Well, I mean, if Chuck does end up listening to this, he's hung up at this point. He's hit off. He's hit stop. Something.
Well, if he is still here, I'd just like to remind him that I smoked him in the Fantasy Football Championship last year, so that was great. Bring it on, Chuck. Like, let's go head-to-head again. It's going to be a good time, and I can't wait to put you in the ground again, my friend. Eat that, Chuck.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to think. What was the question? Is that what is our best times together that we've had?
What would you say is the highlight of our shared experience this year? We've got traveling to Pat's wedding. We've got Pat's actual wedding. We've got HeroClix. We've got General Gaming Weekend. We've got you smoking a deer on your way back from Gaming Weekend and totaling your car. So, like, what's the highlight here, my friend?
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, and if you don't know, yeah, going back Saturday night on the game weekend, it was a fawn. I was going over 70 miles an hour. I was nearly at my exit though, and totaled my car. Killed this deer instantly, launched it into the air, and I saw it flip into the ditch. So it was, I didn't just hit this deer. This was serious stuff. So anywho, I enjoyed HeroClix. I enjoyed Battlestar Galactica and whatever else we played on that Saturday. I can't remember, but that's what sticks in my mind.
Yeah, all right. Games over wedding. I'm going to say that the highlight of my shared experiences for this year with the three of us was traveling with Jake. Like, Jake, we haven't spent much one-on-one time together, but like, I had a great time. Like, we had the same flight together. We shared a hotel room. We drove around Florida. Like, we had a couple-hour drive up to the wedding, couple-hour drive back. And like, I just really enjoyed the time together. Like, I thought it was great. So that is one of my highlights of the year, was just traveling to Patrick's wedding.
Aw.
Wow, that's really nice. Well, I appreciate that too. I had a good time, and I mean, I brought a book And I'm like, well, I'm going to read this book on the plane, and on the way back, no time to read. We were just talking the whole time. So
Yeah, talk the entire way. Good stuff. We're practically in love right now. So this board gaming weekend that we just had, where we played this HeroClix and we played some other games over the next 2 days of the weekend, it was technically Pat's bachelor party, right? So like, I got some party favors, and one of the party favors was a big banner that says, "We thought you liked dudes," which I thought was hilarious. Like, I've been challenging Pat's sexuality for, I don't know, how long have we been friends? Like 30 years or so?
Yeah, yep, that's about right.
Yeah, so I thought this banner was just hilarious. And so we have the gaming weekend, the banner's up the whole time, ha ha ha, poke fun at Pat, good times. Then everyone leaves, my family comes back home. And the day after my family comes home, I overhear my oldest daughter talking with my wife. She's like, "Does daddy's friend like dudes?" She's like, no, it's just a banner. It's just them being guys together. And she's like, "What's it mean that he likes dudes?" And like, so I guess that one actually splashed back on me, Patrick. So like, I burned myself
flashback. Yeah.
by trolling you with a great banner that we hung up with all weekend.
Good. And it's like an area of effect where you are kind of in the blast radius, and knowing you will gladly take a little bit of heat on yourself if you can mostly burn me.
Well,
Which,
honest to God, I thought I had more time than my child being 8 before I had to explain challenging my friend's sexuality. Like, it just, they grow up so fast, man. Like,
I'd like to point out something else. If Chuck happens to be listening, now he also knows he was not invited to the bachelor party. So we'll just throw that out there too.
Pat, would you like to defend that? Because, like, I'll just leave it at that. Patrick, would you like to defend your decision not to invite Patrick or Chuck to the bachelor party? Would you say you hate your brother with a burning, fiery passion?
No, I told him it was happening, and I said, Chuck, you could come if you want. And he's, Chuck's just very practical. It's kind of what I'm practical as well. And he's like, "Well, how many people are going to be there? Do you need more gamers?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think we have a lot." And he's like, "Do you want me to come?" And I said, "Do you want to
come?" Back and forth like that. Yeah.
And it's like it became that. He's like, "I'll come just to hang out with you, but I'm not really a gamer," which you guys know. He's not really a gamer. And then Sunday, for sure, like his kids had soccer going on, and he went to some concert Sunday night. So it would have been Saturday when we had the most people already, and I just didn't know how we would fit him in. And I had spent 7 days with him already. So like squeezing time in wasn't an issue. It was more like, would he be an asset to game day? And probably not was the answer.
Yeah, because he's about as good at board games as he is at fantasy football. So, there's that. And like we said, it's a bachelor party, but like, Pat, all you wanted to do was play board games. Like, I offered to take you to the strip club. I offered to like play football in a parking lot to relive the glory days of our youth. And you're just like, "No, I just want to play board games." And I'm like, "All right, well, we'll play a whole crap load of board games then. Great."
And I think that was the right decision. Like, imagine leaving to go, I don't know, get wings and boobs at
it would really
Vu or whatever's still popular.
Oh, Deja Vu. Holy cow. No, what is it, Tom, in the Metro? It's the one that's down in Invergrove Heights at this point, right?
That's where we went for my bachelor party. King of Diamonds, maybe?
Yeah, I think so. That's the only one, right?
I have no idea. Like, my awareness of the strip club scene in either Minneapolis or St. Paul is severely limited. Like, it's the weirdest thing when you like have kids and like don't go out at night anymore. It's like, oh, yeah, I don't know. Like, I would have just Googled where to take my dude to see dudes.
Well, where can our listeners contact us if they want to recommend their favorite strip clubs around the Twin Cities metro area?
Well, that is a great question, Patrick. It's like you had a whole career in radio. If listeners want to chime in on the content of Outside is Overrated or recommend their favorite strip clubs, they can email the show at overratedpod@gmail.com. That's overratedpod@gmail.com. They can hit you up directly at Pat DeGeest at most places. They can follow me at ThompsonLogicOIO on Instagram and Blue Sky, or they can connect with the show at facebook.com/outside-is-overrated.
Wow, that was really nice. And I have to say, too, that knowing that was maybe a kind of sort of possibility, considering I totaled my car Saturday night, I think I would have preferred if we did that instead of whatever we played late, Cyclades and Boss Monster. Like, maybe we should have went, you know?
So boobs would have made it worth totaling your car, just to be totally clear.
Well, the thought is that like I would not have been around to total my car. I mean, that fawn wouldn't have been where it was if we had, did that. And, maybe Joey Burns came with and, did some inappropriate touching again and got arrested, so it could have been a very different evening.
Yeah, Jake just needed the breasts of destiny on his side.
That's how we can all explain away going to strip clubs in the future. Is like, hey, if I was playing board games with my buddies, I could have totaled the car, but because I was at this strip club, I got home safely.
Right.
To my beautiful wife.
Exactly.
Safety first on Outside is Overrated. All right. Let's stop with the strip clubs. As much as I love
all right
the path that this has gone down, let's get into the meat of our show, guys. Let's get into HeroClix. HeroClix, at its most basic level, hasn't changed a lot since launch. You buy blind boxes with figures, and then you battle your buddies on square-based maps. The figures sit on little dials, and as they take damage, you click the dial, revealing new stats and new powers for your characters. To discuss the experience of jumping back into HeroClix, let's start by traveling back in time. Patrick, do you have a time travel sound queued up? There we go. We're back. We're in our late teens and we're maybe our early 20s. We just jumped into an arms race to pull the chase pieces from the early sets. We're all young, unmarried people with minimal obligations and limited resources. How does HeroClix draw us in? What was the moment that you realized that this wasn't just another board game?
I'll start here. For me, it was just being able to dive into battle with some of the greatest characters that we grew up with. If you want to be Batman, you can be Batman. You want to be Magneto, you can be Magneto. And then you the game fundamentally is pretty basic. You have an attack value, you roll dice, and you try to hit their defense value, and you are pretty quickly damaging your Wolverine, just slicing a dice and Sabretooth, things like that. And for me, it was just that. It's being able to control and go to battle with some of the greatest characters of all time.
What about you, Jake?
I've always been a gamer since, I was a kid, like all of you were playing board games, and you start with, Monopoly or, whatever, Chutes and Ladders, and you make your way to Risk and eventually Axis and Allies. And you're like, before you know it, you're a hobby gamer. You're like, yeah, board games are one of my passion, gaming. But I know that there was a type of game that I never got into, which are those really involved games. Let's just say Magic. Could also be Warhammer. Could be card games, miniatures games, games where you collect, right? Games where like part of the hobby is just knowing the meta game, building decks. Like they're super time intensive, right? And I was kind of not into that. I'm like, I don't want to commit to that. But then first time with playing HeroClix with my buddy from the radio station, Johnny, came up with a shoebox and he pulled a bunch of figures out. And yeah, they were, heroes that I knew. They're characters that I knew. They were DC and Marvel heroes. And, he showed me the clicks and all that. And he's like, yeah, this is a collectible miniatures game. It's a combat game. You build teams, you buy boosters. And I thought, okay, this is a true hobby game that I can get into because I was just excited by the superheroes, loving superheroes my whole life. So that's what it was for me.
Yeah, it's such an easy draw in. And like reflecting on this time of life, like I bought a ton of packs and I played very little. Like I just got hooked on the endorphins of opening new packs, and I was caught up in the arms race of trying to pull better figures than Patrick. Like Patrick and I played Yu-Gi-Oh! The card game together, and we got into a big arms race with Yu-Gi-Oh! And then like our next evolution was HeroClix, and it's like, man, I just bought and bought. And like I remember I was working downtown on my first job after college, and I would go down to Schindler's, I think was the store. It was like a trading card store, but they also had like some nerd game stuff. And I would go there on my lunch break, and I would buy my HeroClix boosters, and then I would go back to the law firm where I was working in the copy center, and like I'd sit in the archives of their files, like opening my boosters. And I remember pulling like the red dial Spider-Man and being just like so jazzed that I like bust out my flip phone and text Patrick. Can't send a picture at that time because it's a freaking flip phone, and text would just literally text. And like I just I got caught up in the magic of buying and opening packs, and like I wish that I had played more, but for me the value was always just like seeing who I got.
That was your last day working there.
No, I worked there for a year and a half, and like
Okay.
I would love going to Shinder's and like buying my boosters.
Do you happen to remember what a booster cost back then?
I imagine it was like $6 or $8.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And you mentioned the red dial Spider-Man. That's another thing it did really well in this game was they had red, which I think was veteran, yellow was like rookie or something, and blue dial was average, moderate. So you had 3 different versions of every character even back then, and they kind of expanded on that.
And like this is more than that because like those were little rings on the dials, but like this was an entire red base, like an entire red base around it, which meant that it was like unique or something. It was some kind of special Spider-Man, and he was mine, man. Like I had Parker, and life was good.
Chase, I think it was a Chase figure back then.
Yeah, it was, and I brought him home to daddy.
That will do it. I mean, you're just getting into something that's a collectible game, and you open up a super rare piece that happens to be one of your favorite fictional characters. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll hook you right there.
So is that the secret sauce for this game? Is that what made HeroClix different from like Magic, Warhammer, or other collectible games of like this time frame?
I mean, I think so. I mean, not just loving superheroes being young, but like, wouldn't you say like year 2000 with that first X-Men movie? I mean, that was the beginning of like superhero movies ruled the box office basically, and then boom, here's a superhero game, and it's just you love these characters. So,
and it was like the best way that we could possibly control them at this time frame, because like video games at this time, like we were in the early PlayStation 2 era, and like you couldn't play like a good superhero video game. So like this was our access to like actually tell Wolverine to go punch Sabretooth, and like that was rad.
Right, yeah.
I think it was like a kind of a perfect convergence of popular characters and like combining that with a game. Because what it did well that like Magic doesn't, like Magic's characters are all kind of made up in Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
And in HeroClix, they have just so many years and years of stories and like different versions of, you mentioned Spider-Man. I couldn't guess. There's probably been 200 different HeroClix versions of Spider-Man, and there's the original, and there's armor suit Spider-Man, and there's Spider-Man 2099, and half Venom Spider-Man, and like you can get every version of the same character you love, which just makes you want to play more and more and collect more and more.
And that's interesting because just last night we recorded the first part of our discussion on Marvel's Midnight Suns. And one of the criticisms I had of that game is like, there's so many iterations of the different characters that are in that game, of Spider-Man, of Iron Man. Like they tried to play real safe and not like commit to any specific Peter Parker or any specific version of Iron Man or like any of the characters. And like, I thought that was a criticism, but with HeroClix, like you get those specific ones, and that's like a cool aspect of it. And like, yeah, I think that is definitely a part of the magic. I also think part of the magic for me was the variety of powers. Like we moved on to this game kind of from Mage Knight. Like Patrick, you got me into both of these games. Thanks a lot. That basically invented credit card debt for me. So thanks, bud. But like with Mage Knight, it was similar in that it had these cool miniatures, but there were no powers printed on the dials, and everyone had like a targeting arc. And in HeroClix, like there's just a ton of variety. Like your speed value could have 6 different colors that each do a different thing. Your attack could do 6 different colors that could mean 6 different things. Like there was just a lot of stuff to it, and the minis were still cool and better than Mage Knight because like they were figures that we already loved.
Yeah, and I think that like building a team in HeroClix, as intensive as it can be, is certainly easier than building a deck in Magic, which I have a lot of experience in. I can't say I've done a lot of things like Warhammer, but that also seems quite intense. Like in HeroClix, they give you a 300 point limit, which is going to narrow your team down to like 2 to 5 figures, which is quite manageable going anywhere. And then once you bring them there, one of my favorite aspects is the crit hit or crit miss, which is rolling 2d6 or 2d, well, 2 6s or 2 1s. And like those moments are so epic because the rolling that natural 12 does an extra damage and it's an automatic hit, and rolling the snake eyes hurts your own character. And you know, a lot of people don't like dice-based games because there's so much luck involved. But man, those every time a crit hit happens, especially back in the day, everybody around the map would just go, "Oh!" because you just lit up whatever your target was. You lit it up.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, and you get non, comic canon kind of things that are just exciting. Like, oh, no one would think that Invisible Girl would be able to punch Brainiac through a wall. Things like that.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. And like I can feel like our nostalgia just bleeding through, and like I can still feel how much we loved this game back in the day. This game was a foundational part of my gaming history, but sadly, when I moved to Maryland to pursue a career in baseball, I left all my nerd homies behind. Without a social network, I just stopped playing, which meant that I stopped collecting altogether. And when I moved home 4 years later, I was broke and like so far behind from a collection standpoint that I just dropped off of HeroClix altogether. So like, I guess my last question for this nostalgic part of our HeroClix journey, how did you guys drift away from the game? Was it because the game changed or because life changed?
Go ahead.
What do you
Jake.
think, Pat? You want me to start with this one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think it would be a life change thing. I think too that for me personally, I think I felt almost like HeroClix was building up towards some of those big tournaments we did, and I wish I had remembered to check on this before the show began when these exactly took place. But there was a big Marvel event, where the tournaments that you do were all building up towards winning like a big Galactus piece. Okay, like a gigantic piece. And then the year after that, there was a DC set, and you're trying to win another big piece, not as big as Galactus, but like a big tentacle monster called Starro, with mind control and stuff. These are characters from the comics. And so like it was almost like it was building up to that, and then after those two kind of back-to-back year events, then it's just something, I can't even remember, something changed in my life that made me just not have the time to be able to, one, attend tournaments like that anymore, and then two, even have the mental headspace to be able to think of team combinations, when I wasn't actively playing. So yeah, I mean, I think it was life, that prevented that.
So Jake grew up, I moved away. Patrick, what's your story?
Similar, man. Like I played a lot with you guys when I was here in Minnesota, and as I'm sure all our listeners are aware of, as they've tracked the history of my life, I moved from Florida, or I moved from Minnesota to Florida, and that kind of ended my HeroClix journey for a while, and I actually got back into it later.
Well, yeah, I wanted to poke at that later point because like you were the most recent of us to play like HeroClix recently. Granted, it's been I think 10-ish years for you, so like not a tremendous amount later, but like you have played a lot more recently than Jake and me, and then you fell off again. So like, how did this will he or won't he with HeroClix develop, Patrick?
Part of it is just it was just there. Like when I was in Florida, I wanted to do some more gaming, and I actually got back into Magic the Gathering for a while. I was going to like Friday Night Magics for a couple of years, and then that shop just closed down.
Oh,
and
okay.
Part of it, so much of gaming is just having a good crew. So like I had kind of found Magic guys that I like playing with, and now that shop's gone, so I was not gaming again for a while. And then I found a place that did HeroClix tournaments on the weekend. So I got back into HeroClix, and I probably played that for many years until I don't know 2018-ish, I would guess. And I was going weekly. They would have a weekly, generally pretty casual tournament, but occasionally they would host big regional tournaments. And Man, that was it. It was the owner of the store was a nice guy named Steve. All the regulars there were great people. You know who the tough competition is, and you're like, okay, I'm going head to head with Bill right now. He's going to bring the heat. I'm going head to head with. It's funny. I don't remember the weak players.
Well, losers just grind into dust, and history moves on.
Right,
so.
right. It's like, okay, I'll go easy on this weakling. But yeah. So much of just having a good crew, and I think at that moment of my life, I quit because right around then is when I took off on a sailboat and went down to the Florida Keys.
Yeah, right.
And there's not a lot of room for HeroClix on a 30-foot sailboat.
Yeah, you took off on a sailboat with your girlfriend down to the Florida Keys, so like I'm sensing a similar theme here. Like relationships are the death of HeroClix. Is that what you guys are dancing around?
It certainly seems like it, man.
Yeah. And thinking about it more about it, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. Pat moved to Florida in 2010. And then my friend that got me into HeroClix, Johnny, he moved to Canada not too long after Pat moved to Florida. So then there's two big HeroClix players gone, and then I got married in 2010. So I mean I think it's a 1, 2, 3 punch right there. That will do it for me.
Yeah, I would like to thank females in general for ruining HeroClix for the rest of us. Thanks for coming into our lives, taking us out of our hobbies, and like making us change and grow and evolve.
Well, we better just go to those clubs again all the time so we can.
Yeah, get the rest of the destiny. Yeah, We've got plenty more blind boxes to unpack in our discussion of HeroClix, returning after 15 years. But first, let's hear a word from our sponsor, Premier Health.
Hey, this episode is brought to you by Premier Health, home to Dr. Brian Camille and Dr. Kelsey Camille, two chiropractors who know a thing or two about keeping you clicking on all cylinders. Whether you're charging into battle with the Fantastic Four or trying to remember what every color on the combat dial means.
Yeah, unlike HeroClix, your health isn't something you want to leave to the dice. At Premier Health, they help you recover from everything from marathon gaming weekends to everyday aches and pains, so you can get back to doing what you love.
Holy cow, is this better doing this with radio dudes? Like, this is phenomenal. Can I just like record like 12 of these with you guys and like just insert them to every show for the year? Because like, this is crazy. Like, I'm pretty sure neither one of you read those before right now. Like, so super duper smooth. I appreciate you guys. But if your back feels like you just took 4 clicks of damage or you're ready to level up your health, visit premierhealthmn.com. That's premierhealthmn as in Minnesota.com and schedule your next move.
Premier Health.
Because the
best defense
is feeling
your best.
You complimented us too soon, Tom.
I tried to do a little countdown too. I did 2, 1, 0. Check out their website at premierhealthmn.com. That's premierhealthmn as in Minnesota.com.
We can try it again. I had that screen up pulled in front of me, so I couldn't see your countdown.
Sure. All right. I'll just do a real quick finger countdown. Premier
Health. Because the best defense is feeling your best.
Feeling your best.
Check out their website at premierhealthmn.com. That's premierhealthmn as in Minnesota.com.
I think it was worse the second time.
Disagreed. I'm leaving all that in. Now, let's move on to the main premise of the show, what it's like reliving our nerd glory days through modern HeroClix. To prepare for this episode, we played a standard tournament with a Fantastic Four set, and then we played a Battle Royale with the X-Men X of Swords set. I played some games to get back into the groove and to learn the modern rules of HeroClix. What did you guys do to help prepare for this show?
I went on the HeroClix website, and they have some videos on there that are supposed to teach you how to play. I watched, I think there's 4 or 5. They're quite basic. Very, very, very basic. They're like, this is your attack, and you roll dice, and you add it and try to hit the defense. They don't really get into powers much. The guy looked like the guy's maps were wrinkled. They weren't even flat, good maps. I feel like this is a business opportunity if you want to go there, fellas. Like I feel like there are no HeroClix social media influencers. There are no good how to play videos, not that I could find at least.
It was fascinating. Like there is a comprehensive rules PDF, and that is like 130 pages long. Like 130. The only other resource they offer is like it's a PDF of like the rule sheets that are packed into these starter sets, which are I think like they print them on plastic and like it's a 3-panel thing or 2-panel thing, but like those print off very poorly. So like the first and last pages are both 8.5 by 11 in that format, but otherwise it prints out like landscape mode and like it's very small and like it was very hard to get like a decent rule set for this game.
Yeah, I feel like I don't think there is a good onboarding avenue for any new players. Not that I could find. And this is somebody who has years of experience. I just wanted something that had like the newest rules and changes that had happened recently and the basics. And I couldn't find it on YouTube or their website.
And I think it's because they do starter packs, like they do a 2026 pack, a 2025 pack that comes with a couple of figures and like the printed rules. And I think maybe that's why they don't have decent rules on their website. But that sucks. Jake, I think you want to make a point before we both cut you off.
Oh no, it was a similar case for me. It was, the main website and what's offered there was, I just thought it was laughably not up to task. And then I did look at the PDF of like all the rules you could ever run into, and of course it's gigantic. And I skimmed through that to try to find stuff that I'm like I knew was important to like double check on. But yeah, there's a major space within the HeroClix community. And when I was driving Pat to play HeroClix on Friday night, dropping him into your place, we talked a little bit about how he could maybe fill that space. Well, not him personally, but what he could maybe do. I don't know if you want to get into that, Pat, but we talked about that a little bit.
I mean, if I got some a nice wig and some cleavage, I feel like I could have like a pretty killer HeroClix rules channel going on, Or I could get my wife involved in this. She's got a
Why would
better.
you need boobs for that, Patrick?
Well, you know what? I know what thumbnails get clicked on.
I mean, I guess you could just do and then you just, you have like a, like a Venom tongue Speedo or something, and that's all you're wearing.
Patrick, you are honestly one of the most charismatic people that I know. People are just drawn to you. Like, I guarantee you that, like, if you were to do HeroClix explainer videos, like, the homosexual HeroClix community would just, like, flock to you, my friend.
Well, I'll get, like, a fishnet onesie, and I'll start clicking, man.
Yeah, and, like, we're making a lot of jokes here, but, like, honestly, this game has changed since we played it back in the day. There are a few notable rules changes from when we played, and like it's hard to find a resource to like just get the most recent rule set. And like even well, I'll get into my next anecdote and then I'll talk a little bit more about the rules. Like one of the things that I wanted to do to help prepare for this game was to play as much as possible. So like I played with my wife, I played with a friend who had never played before, which allowed me to like teach the new rules. And then even though I dread interacting with strangers, I actually went to my local game store to play. I was originally there just buying a map pack so that we'd have like a modern map to play on for our stuff. And a dude named Kevin just walked by and he mentioned that they play every Thursday and invited us to play. And he walked away and I'm like, there's no freaking way I'm ever going to do that. But like, I take my prep for the show seriously. And so I'm like, okay, well, I gotta go. I gotta get out of my comfort zone, and I gotta go. And I went one Thursday night, and I didn't realize their start time. So, like, I showed up, and everyone was already playing. This was after I, like, spent a half hour, like, on the fringes of the gaming section at the source, just, like, peeking at what the HeroClix dudes were doing. And so, like, I eventually went up, and, like, I started talking to them, and I got the start time, and a dude was playing as a giant gingerbread man. I was like, okay, well, that's pretty wild. So, the next Thursday, I go back, I show up on time, and, like, the community at the source in Minneapolis is actually phenomenal. And I just want to give a shout out to Kevin for like first reaching out to me and the guys I played with, Christian, Jerry, and Chris for re-onboarding me to the rules. Like they were playing all these cool fancy things. I brought a team of X-Men from one of the sets that we were playing with, X of Swords, and like they were great. Like they were so patient with me and so careful about explaining things like traits that I didn't fully understand. So like it was really awesome to like get back to that community. But even those guys who play like every single week and have been playing every single week for I don't know, 10, 20 years. Like there were rules that I knew that they didn't because like I'd been specifically studying up on the most recent set. Like
Oh
they
yeah.
had a debate about penetrating damage, and I'm like, only invincible like reduces that. And like they got a heated discussion and they wound up going on a different interpretation of the rules. And like I went home, I looked at that 130 page PDF, I'm like, yep, I was right. So like it's interesting, even though the rules have changed, like not everyone that's playing the game frequently is even like completely up to date on the rules. It seems like a bad place for the game to be in.
I mean, it's just in general, it's not a pick up and play game, but for those kind of games, that are true hobby games, they never are. They've always got very in-depth rule sets. They're always, there's always updates, So yeah, that's the trick. How do you get new people in? I mean, it's difficult enough getting us back into it who have played it before,
Yeah, and let's like dive into that because like we all have a ton of nostalgia. Just like BSing about it in the first part of the show, it's like, oh yeah, we all love this game very deeply. So like, what was your impression when you actually jumped back in and started building a modern HeroClix team?
I'm gonna let Pat start on that one.
I couldn't believe what the point values were for characters. Those have just changed so much. I guess you could call it power creep, which most gamers know the term power creep, but just 50-point characters that had like 12 attack and 18 defense is insane. And
yeah, it is.
And that's for better or for worse because I always liked a team with a lot of people. So now, I could put, I think I had 5 or 6 people on my team that were all pretty cheap and all pretty effective to some degree or another, which was fun to do.
Well, it's interesting. I feel like there's been this shift in HeroClix that like before more points equaled longer dials and more powers, and like now you have these characters that are useful at a lower point count, but they only have a couple of clicks. So like maybe that's how they tried to rebalance as times change, or like maybe they just needed to release more powerful figures to like kick the crap out of the old Gotham PD that we all love so much.
Kind of going with that, yeah. I think you're onto something, Pat. I felt like would need to do more concrete looking to have a real answer to this, but I felt like characters died quicker with the newer pieces. Like, yeah, I think there's less clicks on the dial. So I do remember in some of the old games, there'd be a lot of clicks, and characters might be good for maybe the first 4 clicks or so, and then once you get past that, they got a lot of mediocre clicks where they're, swinging with a 7 damage, to maybe do like 1 damage. And if they're going up against full health figures, those figures are then useless. Or you have a board full of, beat up dudes just like exhaustedly swinging their fists trying to hit each other, and the game just goes on and on and on. So yeah, maybe the new figures are trying to speed things up.
Yeah, new is always better. As far as me, like I nearly wet myself when we started busting open packs, man, because like just my excitement of opening packs and like seeing like if anyone's like fancy or unique, it's just freaking love it. And like I still get that endorphin rush from opening these packs. And the sets that we got aren't necessarily my favorites. Like I'm a Marvel guy. I'm a hardcore Marvel guy. I have no interest in playing with like DC outside of Batman or his villains. And these are Marvel sets, but like Fantastic Four, like it was real Fantastic Four. It was like multiple versions of Reed Richards and Invisible Girl and Thing, and we didn't see that many Human Torches in our polls, but like, man, that was super focused on those guys. The X-Men team or the X-Men set was a little bit better because there's a little bit more variety and there's some crazy bad guys in that one. But man, I am super excited to be playing HeroClix again. I was like, oh, well, I got some stuff. Now I want to freaking play this game. Like, it's no longer enough just to open the packs. Like, now I want to play HeroClix. So, go ahead, Patrick.
Well, and again, focusing on the, I don't want to call it gambling addiction, but Joey pulled like God Emperor Doom, which I didn't look into it, but I imagine it was probably, I'm certainly one of the top 3 pieces, maybe the best piece in that entire set. which is it wrecked my team. I heard it wrecked your team, but that's
Yeah.
one of those things that is so much fun to just pull the chase figure that everybody who plays this game is looking for that specific set.
Yeah, we got to play against it, and that was a fun experience, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about team building. So, like, we opened our packs for the Fantastic Four set. We were playing like a standard tournament where you build a 300-point team out of the or 200-point team out of the figures that you pull out of 2 booster packs. Did building your team feel familiar, or did modern HeroClix like make you think about the game differently? And I might actually lead off on this one.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I played so little back in the day, and my figures were so old, I have almost no frame of reference for this. Like, it was interesting reading through their character cards, because that was a new experience for me. Most of my collection was pre-character cards, which, for people who are in the hobby, like, they've been doing character cards which explain your powers for a very long time. So I was reading through those, I was trying to find synergies, and then for our Battle Royale, like, I took 2 running shot guys just to try to pick off the juiciest targets, because, like, I thought that I'd have an advantage just running around picking off whoever else everyone was wounding. So I don't know. I didn't have a frame of reference, but I liked the team building. Like, I had a good time finding my synergies on my Fantastic Four team, and I thought I had a good approach for the Battle Royale. I didn't wind up winning either one, but I liked the team building.
Okay, yeah. So you asking like what was our experience with building teams again? Is that kind of what you're getting at, or?
Yeah, did it feel like old HeroClix to you, or was it a new experience building teams with modern HeroClix?
Okay. It was a little bit of both. Kind of my earliest experiences with HeroClix, like you said, Tom, is that, the oldest pieces, they didn't have cards that came with them. And for those who have never played HeroClix or, haven't in a while, the cards are, they're just the cards that show what the powers are on the dial. And then if there's anything like extra special, that will be on the card too. But the oldest pieces, the earliest sets didn't come with a card. It was just the figure and the dial and, just the colors that were on the dial. So my first games were with those very, very old pieces, and so that you just get a handful, you dig your hand into a, box of HeroClix and you just put a team together. And then once they introduced the cards, that's also around the time that I started first doing booster tournaments, where you go somewhere. For me, it was Patty's Game Shop in Granite City Comics in St. Cloud, Minnesota. And yeah, this is a whole new level of addiction of buying the boosters, and you get the cards in there, you get the figures. And so when we did this together recently, that's what just struck me right away when we did the first thing, which was the sealed Fantastic Four tournament. It's just opening those packs, and just like you're saying, Tom, that just hit me. Just the high, the rush from opening that. And I didn't pull God Emperor Doctor Doom like Joey did, but I did pull Doctor Doom 2099, which I thought was pretty neat. I'm like, whoa, and you just, that's the first part of it. It's just the high, just opening them up. And then at that point, it's like, awesome. Okay, now I got these, 8 figures. Let's make a 300-point team. And man, I don't know. I felt like it was half the fun. Just opening the figures, making the team.
Yeah, man. And we played, like you guys mentioned, 300-point teams, which is probably a smart move. I remember back in the day, we would frequently play like 1,000-point teams or
we sure
more.
Did. Yeah.
Which I'm sure it sounded really cool at the time, but that ends in an hour long just building your team, and then probably like a 5-hour game where you're just there's probably a bit too much going on the board where you're just pounding each other, especially with those old figures like Jake mentioned earlier, whose stats drop to worthless after 4 clicks. So yeah. Building teams now is great. The figures are nice. Having a 300-point team, especially of guys you're just pulling from boosters, so you're limited to like 10 total figures, and you choose the best 300 points. That all came back right away. I like to use a lot of little guys. It's probably an addiction of mine. I was worried it would lead to action inefficiency, which for those of you who aren't familiar with HeroClix, in a 300-point game, you get 3 actions per turn. I think I had 6 figures, so it really just becomes you're just wasting a lot of your guys, because I can move 3 of them Next turn, I can maybe move the same 3 or the other 3. But those are just a lot of guys you're not using, which I knew that going in. I wanted to do it anyway because I like a bunch of little guys. And like we mentioned, the new figures are quite powerful, even for like 40-point figures. So, I honestly, it made me want to play more. I've considered getting back into HeroClix just because of our game night. The figures. You looking at me, honey, when I say I'm getting back into HeroClix? You're shaking your head at me.
Shaking the finger at you. Yeah, shaking the head.
The price tag is a little, that's apprehensive. But, man, it was so much fun. Like you guys mentioned, playing was fun. Chucking dice was fun. Opening packs was fun. Doing a tournament was fun. I don't know. It was just such a great time.
We played 1-on-1, and then winner plays winner, and losers played losers. What immediately came back to you about playing HeroClix again for the first time in 15 or so years?
One thing hasn't changed is you just want your best figure to get the first attack on your opponent's best figure. And if you can have an outwit and or a prop control, they're backing you up, and it's that's been the same almost as long as I think we've played this game together. It's like Cobra Kai, man. Strike fast, strike hard, no mercy. You just you want to damage your opponent's best piece, and a lot of time it can be cheesy because you're using telekinesis to maybe give you the first attack. You're staying as far away as you can with running shot or hypersonic speed until you can get the best attack. And I don't know. It is what it is. That's how you win HeroClix, unfortunately.
Yeah. I would agree. And what tripped me up, I would think, because my first match was against Pat. It was Pat and I, and then Tom, you were going against Joey. Unlucky you, Joey, drawing that God Emperor Doom. You were doomed from the start. Yeah, you were gonna lose. But going against Pat, he had more figures than me, and I was in my mind, I was thinking like it was like old times. There's no time limit. You just played. There's one person standing. So I threw like my least good figures out there to like try to draw in his figures, so then I could pounce with my best figures. Well, of course he didn't take the bait. He just sent in his less good figures. And by the time ran out on our round, my 2 best figures had never been hit. His 2 best figures had never been hit, but he had taken out 3 of my weaker figures, and I only took out 2 of his weaker figures. And plus you throw in the point totals, and he definitely won. So that was something that got me, is just forgetting, being aware that there was going to be a time limit, but like forgetting how long it's going to take, and we didn't even get our big guys involved even until, 5-10 minutes left in the game. So,
well, that was a little bit different between our matches because like I went after God Emperor Doom right away. Like I knew he was the figure that would sway the match. And so like I had running shot dudes in both of my teams, and I just took my swing at Doom, missed. He massacred me. I'm like, well, shoot. All right. Good luck against Jake. The elements of gameplay that came back to me right away were like 1 move, 1 action, and still got to outwit the key defensive abilities of your opponents. What I think is interesting about the modern gameplay, at least what I saw playing with more frequent players at the source, prob control is like the most important stat. Like that was the thing that every other team made sure they had. Like I didn't hear a single outwit when I was playing at the source, but everybody else had prob control on their team. It's like, well, good. Wolverine hits the 300-pound dark side. He's like, all right, well, prob control. Wolverine misses. Great.
I have a question for you. So your games that you observed at the source, were they playing sealed, or did they create their teams at home and then bring them?
No, everyone was like playing their fancy like tournament exclusive stuff. Like with that experience, Batman set has just released, and most of those players were getting their first boosters from that set when I was there. So like one player on my team had the chase figure from the most recent set. It was a Wonder Woman who could charge like 5 or 6 spaces and then had giant reach of 4. So like she could literally hit your best target, your best figure from 10 spaces across the map. And then you pair that with a 300-pound dark side, pair that with a Vecna that was a like Gen Con exclusive, and it's like, oh, well, my X of Swords dudes didn't really measure up, but I still had fun.
Yeah, okay, that reminds me. That's a memory from playing tournaments in St. Cloud and stuff. When you would do tournaments that weren't sealed, where people got to, think of a team at home and try to put together the best team to bring. I do remember all kinds of prop control. There was a figure in particular. This is a minor character on the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, within the X-Men lore, named Destiny. And this character was that nice, cheap prop control piece. And I just remember, so many tournament teams where a 300-point team is made up of like a big, piece that's going to do big damage and all that, has big defense, and then a Destiny character for all that prop controlling. I'm like, I remember that. Oh yeah, a lot of prop control. So
Yeah, prop control still slaps. So next, I want to talk about like what made you stop and say, "Wait, that's how this works now." And the biggest one for me is no push damage anymore. In the olden days of HeroClix, you could move your figures or you could act with your figures, and then you put an action token on them. And then if you moved or acted with them on the next turn, you put another token on them, and you get a click of damage. So your character's effect usually become a bit worse by using them in back-to-back turns. They have done away with that. So now your figures can act 2 turns in a row if you want them to. And I think that is a tremendous change. And I also want to point out that Pat cheats with Perplex. Those were the 2 things that gave me pause about rules.
You're right. I did use Perplex wrong quite a bit.
Yeah,
What,
and like
back in the day, or
that means what? No, you used it wrong now. Now Perplex can only boost your attack value or your damage value.
I
In
see.
the olden days, you used to be able to boost your damage with it as well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you can no longer perplex damage, which was the best bang for your buck, in my opinion, which I did multiple times, unfortunately. I guess helped lead me to a distant second place for cheating.
Yeah, even with that, there's no way you're going to beat Joey's team. And Joey's a good player too, so I don't want to just insinuate that it was only his team. I mean, he's we're these veterans, and Joey's like, oh, I played a little bit, and it's like, nah, Joey's awesome at HeroClix. Of course he is. So
Well, and part of it was well, I don't want to blame bad dice, but like I went after him. I got the first attack. I rolled a hit. He prob controlled me because one of his guys had prob control. I crit missed, and like from there, it was just. And again, for those not familiar with HeroClix, if you crit miss, your own character takes 1 damage. So I went from potentially damaging his best character to now my character is hurt, and it was all downhill from there. But yeah, I'll emphasize Tom's no pushing damage. It probably took me halfway through the first game with you, Jake, where I even started doing that. I'm like, so okay, I can just move these characters twice in a row, and they won't get hurt. Like it's so ingrained in me that I just there was I remember a point in the game. I'm like, so I can just attack with this guy again. And Tom's
with
like,
no penalty. Yeah.
Yep, you can. Like, all right, I'll do that, I guess. Like, I have 20 years of pushing damage in my brain. It's hard to shake, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, was there anything else that was like super ingrained like that just felt weird playing it in a modern setting?
I got 2 examples. Now I'll try to be quick. So one of them is that on the cards now, there are abilities that are constant abilities. And this may have been introduced in cards back in the day, and I've just forgotten. But like that was hard to keep track of. It was okay. Got to try to remember all the colors on the dial and what they correspond to. Got to remember that there's going to be things on the dial that is going to be a white box, and I got to look at the card and be like, okay, that's something special for this character. But then also there were like, I had a Hulk that had 2 things that were special that weren't even on his dial that are like, by the way, this is always in play. Also, this is always in play. And it was like, what?
Yeah, those are called traits, and like it is so much to keep track of. Like there is a Wolverine in the X of Swords set that I opened before we did our boosters, and like he's got multiple things like that. He's got like willpower and leadership, and so like you're rolling a D5, D6, and in addition, anytime he rolls a D6 on a single die, he heals a click, and it's like, man, he's already got blades, he's already got charge, he's already got flurry, and like it's got all this stuff. It's like it is very challenging to keep track of it all. Like the dials were enough, but now there's more on top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll echo what you guys just said. Like I had multiple Fantastic Four pieces, and they had effects they were traits, so they were always active, but only certain characters, if it was you rolled a 4 on your attack, or other characters, it was if your opponent rolled a 4 and hit you. And like,
Yeah, those are called rally dice, and then you store those dice in your card, and you can use them to trigger more stuff.
yeah, like stuff like it was getting to the extreme of what abilities I could remember that my characters had. And I get, we're all pretty rusty, but yeah, like you guys said, it's not just the colors on your dial. It's multiple traits that your character also has just on the card, which are triggered when certain numbers come up on dice.
Yeah, it's man, it has got a learning curve. Let me tell you, I couldn't imagine never having played the game before.
Yeah,
Yeah, Phoenix adapted to it pretty well. Granted, we played with crappy old figures that couldn't do as much, so she hasn't played with any of the new figures that we opened up for this tournament. Let's talk a little bit about the Battle Royale. This is where HeroClix moved from 3x2 maps to 2x2, specifically with the X of Swords set. So we had these packs specifically. We had this new map size. We drafted figures where we each opened a pack, grabbed one, and then passed the pack to our left. I thought that was an interesting experience, but if you guys were introducing someone to HeroClix today, would you start them with a standard match tournament or start them with a battle royale?
I would do standard for sure, just one-on-one. Like battle royale, first of all, there's just too much going on with 4 players, or however many players you're going to have. Second, and this is a problem back whenever, as long as we've played HeroClix, people just don't divide their forces evenly, and there's always someone who gets double teamed. They get sandwiched. Their forces just get crushed. They're like, well, I'll send half my guys to the left and half my guys to the right, and then if everybody does that, I guess it's sort of even, but rarely does that occur, and then your half force just gets wiped out.
And I kind of banked on that with my strategy because I had the good fortune. My best figure in my first pack was a running shot figure, and then when I got my second pack from Burns, I also got a running shot figure. So my whole game plan was well, I'm gonna see who's beat up, and I'm gonna go try to mop up every kill that I can with my dudes just running around. So the first turns, I created a path to Jake, and then Joey and Pat kind of ran at each other, and then I stood there waiting for somebody to get wounded for me to try to swoop in. Like the turkey vulture of doom.
Yeah, I think Battle Royale is fun for experienced players. But yeah, it's pretty steep. And it reminds me that specific set, since we had moved on to the X-Men X of Swords set when we did the Battle Royale, that reminded me of something else that was new for me for HeroClix. It was particular to that set, at least for the evening, was having extra items. Like there were pieces that were like a sword that had its own card and its own ability, so a character could pick it up. And I'm like, wow, even more rules.
Yeah, that was a unique thing with the swords. The storyline for X of Swords, mutants and forces of Apocalypse get drafted into this battle where they have 10 heroes battle with swords, and that's the crux of the comic storyline. So I think they captured that pretty well here. But what it means practically for HeroClix players is each booster pack has a sword in it, which is a piece of equipment with its own card. I think there is more equipment in modern sets. But in this set specifically, there were specific sword bearers, and for tournaments, anyone could pick up a sword. But you're right, it was more rules and more stuff to manage, which is exactly what HeroClix needs.
Yeah,
and that is contiguous with, I guess, since I got back into HeroClix in Florida, a lot of the game was about equipping people. So that's probably been going on for at least over 10 years. When I got back in, you could get the Batman's belt, and you could put that on any character. And you could add things to the belt that, batarangs or smoke grenades that would do various things. And it cost a few extra points to equip to your character. But the big one is you could take a turn to click it to any dial. And one of the dials was give your character +2 to all stats. So every game would just begin with both players, their best character has Batman's utility belt attached to them, and they would just start, okay, I'll change it to the dial where he gets +2 to everything. Yeah. And then that's how every game started. And beyond that, you had the Infinity Gauntlet, which was an equipable item. Everybody had to have that to be competitive. There was a set where it was the lanterns. You had every different color of Green Lantern, and not just the green one, red, yellow, indigo, whatever all the ones are.
All that.
You could equip those to your characters, and it's interesting to see that it's probably still the same even to this day.
That sounds like it sucks. Like, honestly, like, it sounds like it sucks. And, like, the swords didn't seem like that game-changing. They did give whichever character held them blades, claws, fangs, which gives you the opportunity to roll a d6 for your damage, so you can maybe do more damage than you normally do. But the swords seemed less consequential than, say, the Infinity Gauntlet or +2 to all stats.
Well, I'd be curious what like the best sword is right now, because I feel like we were pulling the common swords.
Yeah.
And I didn't look this up, and they'd give you blades, claws, fangs, and maybe one extra power. I'm just curious if there's like a chase sword that everybody has to have right now, or some other form of equipment that just all the top tier HeroClix teams are using, because that's how the game was back in the day, man.
Yeah, and like, I guess I would have been good hosting to look that up. To answer my own question, like, I agree with you guys, like, a one-to-one experience with pre-built teams is the best way to onboard somebody. But I will say that, like, the game store plays battle royales, and like, when you're playing with a group of guys that isn't like out to pummel their friends, it can be a nice way to onboard, because like, you see more figures, you see more stuff, and like, it can be a really good way to learn a lot about the game in a short period of time. But like, thinking about playing with you guys, like, I would have never pulled punches. I would have like taken my team and like pummeled you into the dust as effectively as possible. And like, Pat, if you're gonna pull up to teach someone new the game, like, that would be to your detriment, my friend. I would put you in the ground.
You know what? I'm coming around to that argument, man. Like, at least in the Battle Royale, there's almost always a target, and you get a real good display of what each power does, attack powers and defensive powers, where, kind of like we mentioned before, one-on-one, you tend to stand off a bit more.
That's true.
And maybe you don't get, well, I'm almost certain you don't get nearly as many attack opportunities as you would in a Battle Royale. So, yeah, I guess if your goal is just to have fun rolling dice, and you're also going to pick up on attack powers and defensive powers, a Battle Royale does do that very, very well. You might not get the one-on-one teaching that you might get in a one-on-one game, but you will learn the other aspects pretty quickly.
I feel like it was to a detriment to us that we all had not played in so long. Like, I did my best to bone up on the rules and get some games in ahead of time, but like, I think if we were to play a couple of battle royales together and like get more fluid with the rules and powers together, like, I think that might be our preferred method of playing as like a group of friends. Do you guys disagree with that assessment?
Well, I'll just take the time to say I don't know, because I like Battle Royale, but man, that's a thrill opening packs too. So
yeah, let's
what
dive
do you
more
guys
into that.
think?
Like, that opening packs used to be like the best part of the experience for me. Does that still capture the magic, or are we too old and too practical to like enjoy cracking open packs? And like, for this experience specifically, I told you guys ahead of time that I was going to keep all the figures. Like, you could open the packs, you could build your teams, but like, everything was remaining within OiO. So like, is it still fun busting these things open and seeing what you get, or like, are we just too old for fun anymore?
Sure. No, I totally love the dopamine hit. I adored it. I was hooked. Even though I didn't get to keep any of them, it was fine. It was opening. It was Christmas morning, opening it up Friday night instead of Christmas morning, doing some HeroClix. So,
Well, let me push back on that a little bit, because like, I did have a bunch of free stuff you guys could take, but like, do you want more HeroClix? Like, would that have been an appeal if like you're keeping the figures that you're opening?
didn't matter to me. I was, I didn't necessarily want to bring any stuff back home with me. It was just, for me, it was just a thrill of opening and then like, okay, this is what I have to work with. I got to make a team out of this. So that was cool. But, that's expensive, obviously, because packs are more expensive now. So, if we end up playing more in the future somehow, some way, then, just having pieces and building teams to do battle royales, that's probably the right way to go.
Yeah, and I have an entire unopened brick, so like we could do conceivably 2 more tournaments, like 2 more battle royales. Like I have 2 other friends, Prime, that want to learn how to play. So like, we could set up that experience, and like I'm excited to play more. I still love opening the packs, man. Like even like with the Fantastic Four, I opened my first one. There were 2 things and a she thing. I'm like, what the hell? All right, well just open up the next one. And like for me, opening packs still slaps. What about for you, Patrick?
Yeah, man, for sure. Like, part of it's just seeing characters that you love and being away from this game for so long. But a big part of it, unfortunately, it's going for those big chase figures or whatever.
Yeah.
Like all the best figures have different colored dials, or I should say the rarest figures. So like you just know almost instantly, okay, this is one of the best figures in the set. Because it's got like a gold dial, or I don't even know what the colors are anymore. They used to be green. Sometimes they were red. But yeah, just seeing that as you open the thing, you're like, oh yeah, here we go. We hit it on this pack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I remember the same thing. I remember opening a pack and it was like Baron Zemo, and I didn't know who the hell Baron Zemo was, but like he had the special ring. I'm like, all right, great. I have this cool figure. I don't know what he is, but like, yay.
Yeah. Yeah, I can relate. There was some Avenger set back, 20 years ago probably, and I pulled Red Skull holding the cosmic cube, and he's standing on top of a broken up Captain America shield, and his card just has so many powers on it, and I'm like, oh yeah, here we go.
Life is good.
Mm-hmm.
And then we all got married and stopped playing. Good times. Do the modern figures feel more exciting or just more complicated?
They're definitely more complicated. You throw in those, what are they, traits? Those abilities that are just always in play. Yeah, like, oh man, they're more complicated. But, so, I mean, that's the way it is now, so.
And more complicated, but they also look a lot better. Like, Burns brought his original, like, pre-card sets, and, like, we were comparing minis, and, like, I mean, they're not the best painted minis in the world, but they look a lot better than they used to. And like I think the figures are generally really, really cool. And like if it's not Marvel, I just don't super care. The Fantastic Four set was okay. X of Swords was interesting, and it made me want to read more of the actual comic line. But like, man, I would love to open more Marvel booster packs, or even some of the new like DC set is Batman heavy. So like that would be cool to like pull some of the cool new Batman. I think the modern figures are awesome and exciting, and like I am all in on HeroClix again.
I mean, yeah, they definitely.
Go ahead.
I was going to say they got good sculpts and good painting. They look nice now compared to the old ones.
Yeah, I'll just again echo what you guys are saying. The sculpts are great. The figures are great. Like we've mentioned, their effectiveness is great. Like again, almost every figure I pulled, I thought I could use this person, which I feel like wasn't the case, especially when we started. Like the first few sets, there's a lot of trash figures.
Yes.
And the sets now, it's like a bad attack these days is 10 or 11, Yeah. Everybody's got some good traits and good abilities. And it's like getting my team down to 6 characters out of 10 was actually kind of challenging because they're all really effective. And like you guys said, memorizing all the traits that not just you have, but your opponent's character have can be a hassle. But I would imagine if you're playing over and over with the same sets, I think you pick that stuff up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So yeah, right. I really like the modern figures a lot.
Well, here's the money question, fellas. Did coming back to HeroClix after 15 or so years make you want to play HeroClix again, or did it simply remind you of why those old weekends oh so long ago were so special?
The big final question. I don't know. Do you want to go first or second, Pat, on this?
I've hinted, I've been tempted. Man, I've been really tempted. Even talking about it now was fun. Man, rolling those crit hits was so much fun. Opening the boosters was fun. Can I just commit the time and money it takes to be a good HeroClix player? That's the question.
Yeah.
It's an every first of all, it's an every weekend thing, which is generally when I do comedy, and it's also a very expensive hobby,
Yeah.
which comedy doesn't pay real well.
Yeah.
And I think the game is still great, but like the price point. I was watching dudes open the new Batman set when I was at the source. $17 a booster, man. $17 a booster. And like I bought older sets that were on sale, and like this was still the most expensive show that OiO has put together. So like, man, HeroClix is awesome, but like the price point is too steep for me to like stay competitive. But Patrick, let me ask you this: like you mentioned the time and financial commitment of being good. Like, do you have to be good? Like, could you just play with Caitlin? Because like I see Phoenix and I playing a ton with the sets that we just bought, and like just enjoying the game for what it is. Like, I don't see myself entering the competitive scene. Like, I don't like playing with strangers, so I'm just not going to do that unless like Venomized Galactus comes up in a tournament again. So, do you have to like play well, or could you just like buy a shoebox on Facebook Marketplace and just have fun with it?
Well, yeah, I could play with what I have. Honestly, I think it's like a 2 foot by 2 foot cardboard box with most of my HeroClix collection out in the shed. Hopefully, the rats haven't eaten a lot of my figures. I have a Superboy Prime that used to be really rare,
Yep.
worth 350 points. You know, I could just bust that out and play with Caitlin, and she's played before. You know, she knows the game. Man, the problem is it's so addicting. You know, once you start playing frequently, you're like, oh, what else is new? Like, oh, this is a really good character from a comic book series that I read and really liked. You know, why don't I just pick up that one? And then you're tapped in. You're just hooked once again.
Yeah.
One of the ways I think is possible too is just pre-release tournaments. Those were kind of my favorite things, even when I was playing a lot in Florida. And that's when a new set would come out, and everybody just got 2 boosters. It's basically the booster tournament that we did. And that way, you don't have to spend a ton of the money to get the best pieces. You're sort of on an equal playing field. You know, there's always luck of what you pull, but you know, you can show up with your $30 entry fee or whatever it is, and still do pretty well against people who've spent $10,000 in the past year.
Ugh. Yeah.
So Patrick's all in. Patrick's back onto HeroClix.
I'm back.
Welcome back,
I'm back,
my friend.
baby.
Like, where are you at, my friend? Because like you love this game, and like I can see your love for this game shining through. Like, are you ever going to buy a booster pack of HeroClix again?
You're asking me now, is that right?
Yes.
Oh man. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to get sucked back in. So as much as I may enjoy it. So for me, it might be this. It might be, however many times we get together as a group to play games, which is once, maybe twice a year. And I will just hope that in those cases, there's a little bit of time set aside to play HeroClix. Because I do really want to play it again. I could see myself every now and then, once in a blue moon, being like, you know what? I know, say, Tom and Joey or whatever is going to the source on this night for, you buy 2 boosters and that's what you play with for the evening. I could see myself doing that every so often.
Sorry, Pat, let me cut you off before you respond here. I am going back to the source. I am going to play with those dudes again. Like, they were so welcoming. They gave me a bunch of figures, and like I'm going to bring a bunch of the promo stuff that I didn't give away to you guys. I'm going to bring some of that promo stuff to the source and redistribute amongst the people who gave me figures. So like I am going to play again, but like I don't know if I'm buying any new packs because like that price point is awfully high. Like it would take a different financial picture for me to really get into modern HeroClix.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad you're going back to share the love with Kevin and the gang. I haven't looked to see if this is still the case. Back when I played a lot, again, like the chase figures and the super rare figures were the most desirable and most expensive. But you could usually on the secondary market buy like a common, uncommon, rare set for they'd be around $30. So you could get every common, every uncommon, every rare, one of each. And again, it was probably from some dude who bought a case or whatever and just has all these spare figures.
Sure.
And I used to do that quite a bit because one of my great loves of the game was variety, and I kind of just wanted to get one of most of the figures, and that was an economical way to get most of the characters that I would like to play with.
Pat, I got 2 young kids. I can't store all that stuff, man. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with the 3 books that I bought for the show. So, like, man, and like, I guess that's the other downside of HeroClix. Like, it's a lot of storage, and like, I want to have some good teams, and like, I want to have variety. If my friends want to come over and play, like, I want them to be able to build a team that they're interested in. But like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do with all this stuff, and like, I can't, in good faith, with what I spent on these figures, just dump them all in a box and say, all right, there's the HeroClix giant box. Like, I have to do something with them, and I don't know where I'm going to store them.
Yeah, that's part of the problem, man. I had 2 floor-to-ceiling bookshelves. Each shelf, I think, had like 4 Plano plastic tackle boxes, and I would put a set in every tackle box. And I never counted. I bet I had 50 Plano, like those kind of transparent plastic Plano tackle boxes, just full of HeroClix. And who has 2 bookshelves to just store one game? And then I had, besides that, boxes of maps, boxes of dice, boxes of doubles, and other tokens, and giant figurines. So yeah, it takes up a huge amount of space. So that's also part of the equation, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Jake brought a bin of your old HeroClix to the gaming weekend. Like, anyone could have taken it, and we wound up shoving it in your brother's garage. So, like, I thought that was telling.
Yeah, when I brought that, there wasn't even the intention to offload it. It was just like, oh yeah, Tom said bring whatever maps and tokens you may have. And I'm like, okay, well, they got to be in here, because I had consolidated all these things into this one tackle box, or not tackle box, excuse me, bin. Good plastic bin, and then there it was. And then, due to my deer slaying incident Saturday night, I was not able to come back for the last day of the gaming weekend to bring it back. So then it's like, well, okay, I guess they're gonna have to deal with it. I don't have a car anymore.
And if Chuck listens to this, he did not even see me put it somewhere in his garage. So Chuck, if you've listened all the way to through this entire podcast, there is a Sterilite gray plastic storage tote full of HeroClix somewhere at your house. I bet he doesn't find it for 2 years minimum.
Did you leave the label on the box, Patrick?
I took the label off in case the kids got to it first. But even in there was fun stuff. I briefly looked through it, and there was like I forget. I think it was just a figure. Again, they gave away if you did pre-release tournaments or something. It was what if Professor X got Juggernaut's helmet? So
oh yeah, that was in there. Yeah.
So it's like Professor X with his powers, but also Juggernaut's powers. Unopened. Yes. I've never used that piece in my life. It sounds pretty chaotic and awesome. I'm like, oh man, I completely forgot this exists. Like, again, one of the beauties of such a variety of characters. I'm sure that's maybe from a comic book that exists that I never read.
Yeah. HeroClix is still awesome. The game itself still slaps, but it sounds like it's the business model and like the lack of storage that kind of turns us off of it. Mm-hmm. So like, the game itself is still fun. If you have a chance to play, you should play. If you're a friend of mine, I got some stuff we can play. Is there anything else you guys want to get off your chest about HeroClix, either old or new? Like, this is the last chance we'll ever talk about HeroClix on Outside is Overrated. So here is your open forum to dredge up old memories, readdress old wounds. I'll share one anecdote. I had a Magneto piece that I was super proud of. Like, he was a rare pull. He was in his chair, floating up in the air, and like, it was a cool cool piece. Like I played with him one time because I bought and bought and bought and rarely played, but I played with him one time, and I forget who exactly I was playing against. I know that Patrick was there, and Jake, I assume you were there too. But my sweet Magneto got tangled up with Robin, and Robin killed him. And like I'll just that has haunted me for 15 years, and I don't feel like I've exercised that through this episode.
I vaguely remember that. I don't know who you were going up against, but I think we referred to that piece as Sweet Nito because he was,
Sweet and
Magneto in the chair.
Yeah.
Sweet Nito, and you were like, well, I'm going to use running shot against stupid Robin right there on that, that gargoyle on that building. And the person, whoever they were like, nope, you can't because Batman team ability says he's in stealth. So your Sweet Nito can't even see him. And then Robin proceeded to kill Magneto with batarangs.
I got a measure of vengeance preparing for the show, I guess, because like the first time that I played after unpacking my old figures I was a Batman villain team, including Bane, and Phoenix was a Batman hero team, including Robin. And like I took Bane and I ran directly at Robin and I ground him into dust. And like that felt good, but it didn't erase the sting from Robin taking down Magneto so many years ago.
Yeah, this game's got lasting memories, man. There's no doubt about it.
It's the double-edged sword of HeroClix, man. And part of it's those crit hit rolls and crit miss rolls. Any character can potentially kill any other character. There are a lot of incidents like that. I remember in earlier games where I don't remember who attacked him, but somebody boxcarred Sabretooth. And I think back then we were playing it so like walls wouldn't stop you during knockback. You would go through as many walls as you were knocked back, and each
take an
wall
extra click. Yeah,
did one extra damage.
Yeah,
and it was somebody who did like 5 and knocked him through 3 walls or something. So they one-shotted Sabretooth through 3 walls and killed him with 8 damage. And just things like that. They're so fun. I still remember that to this day. I don't know why, but just Sabretooth getting rocked.
I remember that. That may have been me with Superman villain Doomsday.
That sounds right.
Doomsday, who's just a big brawler character he
was a big figure.
He was big, and in the early '90s comics, he's the character who quote killed Superman. In the that big spiel. So he's a brawler character who does enough damage that he's supposed to be able to damage a Superman piece, and rolled boxcars, hit Sabretooth, did 5 damage anyway. You throw in an extra click for the boxcars, and then we were playing it so like each additional wall that Sabretooth got launched through gave another click, and a full Sabretooth piece was killed in one attack, and everyone loved it. Hilarious.
Nope, everybody loves a one-shot.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, that is going to do it for our discussion of returning to HeroClix after 15 years. It was an interesting experience, and thank you guys for coming along for the ride. Next month, Brian and Joey and I are celebrating 100 episodes of Outside is Overrated. This is episode 99. Next month will be 100. We recently dropped part 1 of our game club discussion on Marvel's Midnight Suns. Thank you for the clap, Patrick. Play Midnight Suns along with us and share your thoughts on the OiO Discord. Thank you for listening to Outside is Overrated. Please review us on your favorite podcast platform and consider supporting our show on Patreon at patreon.com/OiO. For Pat at PatDeGeest on most platforms, and for Jake at Nowhere on the Internet, I'm Tom Sidlogic at Tom Sidlogic OiO. We'll talk to you next month. Stay inside, kids.